Hello everyone. We have a game with the white pieces against Tumuti, rated 1865, much higher. So let's try to get a Jobava London on the board, see what happens. He goes c6, stopping knight b5 ideas. But we're going to play our bishop out and look at this diagonal anyway. He plays his bishop out, similar to us. And now I'm just going to close the pawn chain and open my bishop. He develops the knight, and now we just transpose as if he used a different move order. And so we'll play our normal and standard f3 to harass the bishop. He closes the pawn chain, and we gain space for free. He moves his bishop back. We continue gaining space for free by attacking the bishop. He'll probably go h5. We gain further space for free. The knight should go home. But similar to maybe our last game, he goes to this square. In that position, I brought my bishop out, also fine. You could develop your knight too. Let's just develop our knight. And there's a weird nuance here, like you could develop your bishop, but there's also the opportunity to put your knight on h3, drop your bishop back, and then put your knight here and hit his bishop and support g6. It's something else. Now I'm not going to go for that. I'm just going to develop my bishop normally. Okay, he moves this knight to the side. Not sure what that does. But he didn't take our bishop, and this allows us to ruin his pawn structure permanently and severely. So let's take his bishop. It's weird that an 1870 would let me do this to his structure. Now he has tons of weaknesses, and I think we should target them by developing immediately. He defends with the king, not a good defender. And now we need to move this bishop so we could put the knight there and double hit that. So where do we could do it with tempo by taking the knight, get the turn back quickly. I don't really want to give up the bishop for that knight though, in such a fashion. I could drop it back one or two, let's say one. That gives him a whole turn. What can he really do with that turn though? He can never defend this pawn this way or behind the king. He can never go here. So how does he actually defend it even with that extra turn? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go here and then put my knight here and target this weakness with my queen and my knight. He goes there, but okay, so maybe this, but his position's getting worse and worse by doing stuff like this. So maybe I should have taken that knight. Yeah, maybe I should have taken that knight to speed it up. Either way, we still have a great position. So let's continue. Now he has to go here, which blocks his rook. Oh, what? How is this guy 1900? I don't get it. Okay. So if I take this, he has to go somewhere. And then this is hanging too. So this is game over. He's just playing c5 like normal Jobava moves as if the position is normal. This is not normal. I'm not going to take the queen. I'm going to checkmate him here. And I don't know what the heck that was. I'm not going to analyze that. I mean, we've seen that game so many times up until the point he let us take his bishop and ruin the structure. So here we're going to play d4, try to get a Jobava London against Blitz Fitz. Okay. So he brings his knight out and plays e6 like a Nimzo Indian style, but we're not playing the Nimzo Indian, right? We didn't put our pawn on c4. So in any case, I'm going to put a second pawn in the center against this 1740. Maybe he'll pin the knight. Maybe he'll put a pawn in the center. Who knows? He does put a pawn in the center, and we very much like to play this advanced French structure. So we attack the knight, and he retreats. He's going to play c5, and we're going to play a French, which is fine. So, for example, bishop out, c5. I mean, let's just go knight e2. It's the respective move of what he did with his knight, the retreat backwards. The only thing is his, while it supports c5, mine supports my center, so that when he plays c5, I open the square up for c3, and he takes. So we take, and now we just maintain this pawn chain. He's going to try to attack us on the dark squares. Okay, so he starts with the bishop. This is his, one of his better minor pieces, probably. I see no reason not to force the issue. So let's develop a new piece and force him to make a decision. He protects with the queen. Fair enough. This guy just want to trade everything. Like, what's the point of all of this? Since he's trying to trade a lot of stuff, I'm just going to interpose with my knight so we don't trade everything off the board, because I'd like to play a game. So he castles with no minor pieces on this side for him, defending his king. Okay, so I'm going to develop a piece, aim at the king, and I might very well attack it depending on what he does. So he develops the knight and attacks our center. We should just develop a knight and defend the center. But more importantly, we're setting up for Greek gift, which he may not realize, because we put the bishop first and the knight second. So it looks like the knight's just normal development. Now he's covering that square, but he did weaken these light squares. So takes, here, check, back. You could take a pawn, but there's no good combo of pieces there. So if he ends up taking us and we take back, he's attacking it one more time. I'm going to throw in a free improving move that takes away that square from his knight, his bishop, his queen, and once he takes, because he's probably not going to want to retreat, I mean, you could take with the pawn and solidify your center, but then there's this issue. So my plan was to take back with the bishop, getting the turn back. And now he goes here, adding an attacker, because I added a defender. Because takes, he has this queen. Okay. His position is weaker though, and we have really good development. I think we just give it to him, right? There are moves like rook c1 which are interesting, but I think after all said and done, his king is still weak. I mean, we could go queen e2 and defend it again. Queen c2 attacks a pawn by the king. There's also taking, which I didn't even mention, but not my favorite. Queen e2? How bad is that? Takes. You take with the pawn. And I mean, that's it. I guess we could try it. Let's go for queen e2. It does defend the pawn. It does develop a piece. It does affect the center. So it also eyes this weakness on the e6 square. So now if I take and he takes, well, I guess it only works if he takes with the pawn. You get the check because rook and knight both defend. Still, it's a weakness. So he does take the pawn. We kind of want to maintain a stronghold here, but by taking the pawn, he releases control over g5. So do we have Greek gift stuff? Check. Takes. Check. Back. Queen h5. Rook over. It's a little weird without that f pawn. Okay, let's take back with the pawn. And now I'll calculate on his time. So here, here, here. Queen h5, rook over somewhere. This check, he goes this way. What is this? I'm happy to see a5. I was not looking on that side of the board, that's for sure. Okay, so now I don't even have to sack. Now I have all the time in the world to just hit weaknesses. It does undefend the center though, but it's gonna hit the queen and the rook. If he so knight here, he takes here, defends the e pawn, hits our bishop. We take with check. He has to go here. Queen h5. I'm gonna go for this. I think it's just there's just too much stuff. My e5 pawn is restricting these three minor pieces and the queen, although the queen can kind of go sideways. So let's say these three minor pieces. He moves the rook to defend this weakness, but he's totally missing out on the fact I'm attacking this. But instead of taking this pawn immediately, always try to build up for stronger attacks. So queen h5 threatens mating constructions, also hits the rook, which is loose. But let's go for the more forcing line and check it. Check. He goes in the corner. You could even check with the rook. Take. Queen checks. He goes back. Check. He takes the knight. I mean, queen h5 is good enough. It creates too many threats for him to stop. There's three different squares my queen's going to land on, so he goes for that one, but the checkmate square was actually f7, not h7. Also, the rook's hanging with checkmate, almost. But I kind of want to go check, and when he goes here, I can go here, but then he can go here, here, here. Okay, fine. Let me just take the rook then. Comes with check, so it's not like it ruins anything. He has to go here. And now his knight's pinned. This guy's hit. My knight's hit. I am up a rook. I don't have any cool moves, which is really annoying. Oh wait, yes I do. I have one cool move, which is checkmate. I was gonna say, this is too weird if I have to move my knight back to f3. I mean, I'm up a rook and a bishop and I'm winning, but it feels like there should have been a cool move, and here it is. And so we take the knight with checkmate, and let's analyze it. This guy, 1740, played a lot better than the 1900 last game. So we get a Jobava. Oh, no, we don't. We play e4 because he didn't stop us from playing e4. He didn't play d5. And so we know to take the center. We know that we like playing advanced French structures because once you learn how to play them, you can attack the king. Improve the position, gain space for free. And now you have a ton of moves here because there's many ways to play the French. You can bring your knight out, you can go f4, But there's this weird option of retreating your knight just so you can solidify with c3 on c5. And so that's what I go down. And that's what we do. He takes a force move. And now it's just a pretty even game, but I'd rather be white with the extra space and no knight to defend the king. Force move. Improving a piece. And prophylaxis. I don't just want to trade everything. And even though we didn't do anything, we're not up material. He has, what looks like some pieces developed. The engine says we're up plus 1.2, more than a pawn already and for nothing. And that's because this bishop, you never want to actually trade it for the knight. Therefore, this queen and bishop pressure is fake. This knight only is there to support c5. There is no c5 pawn thrust, so the knight's misplaced, blocking pieces. And although you're ready to castle, you don't actually want to castle because you're going to get attacked. So all of these things, more than a pawn up positionally. He castles anyway, plus 1.5. We develop center and king safety. Let's say force move, develop king safety. You have options though. Improving our position for free, because I think if he takes, it's good for us. And he does take, and it is good for us, it turns out. So force move, still plus 1.4 for free. We're protecting our center. And our position looks really good with these two bishops. I mean, look at his bishop and rook. Terrible. And that's why you don't play the French. And, I mean, you could do a bunch of moves. What does the engine even like here? Just castle. I was going to just castle. They also mentioned the two moves that I mentioned. Rook here, which I said was interesting. And queen here to attack the pawn. One thing I wasn't going to do is take this pawn. It is one of the moves on their list. Interesting. But I go queen e2. Supporting the pawn, just maintaining my positional bind. He takes. And now I thought that would open up this possibility of going here. But I didn't want to calculate on my turn. So I said, let me take back. This is what they consider my one inaccuracy of the game. Taking back first. Because you could have gone knight there immediately, but I'd rather calculate on his turn, and this pawn blocks 3 of his, and therefore the bishop, and therefore the rook, and so this pawn blocks like 20 points of material, and so I was going to calculate from here. And then he made this move, and I was like, what the heck? Totally missing the point of the game. And then I played this move, which just develops for free and looks winning, and it's plus 4. So you see the French structure start out even and playable, but you make a little bit of mistake or one waste of time move like this, a5, and you get crushed. He just defends, and now we have, checkmates, threats. It's plus 5, you can't do anything. Yeah, bishop takes is even more accurate. Plus 6 and plus, they're both plus 6 actually, so they're both equally good. And now it's just mate in 3, which, did I miss it? No, this was the mate in 3, okay. Takes, and then I found this move. But if I turn on the engine and we forget about that move, yeah, there are no other cool moves. Like, okay, they're listing h4, that's pretty cool. Yeah, h4 is pretty cool. They have knight h7, but that's not so cool. Okay, bishop h4 and bishop h7 and h4 are pretty cool. But we go for the checkmate, and that's that. So 2 games in 1. Took down a 1900 and a 1750. Pretty simple. One inaccuracy, 94%. Hopefully this helps you guys. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Good luck in your chess, and goodbye.